Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to RPA week number 8. This week, your Mistralton City Mews are going to be taking on Coach Rhodes and the Las Vegas Rotoms. As you can see by the matchup here, this is a very interesting matchup where they have a Sun team. And, well, while I've played very many hyper offense teams in this league, this is the first, weather hyper offense team I've faced. So, it's going to be interesting to see how I can handle this challenge. So, going through their team, they have Great Tusk, which is probably one of the best Pokemon in Gen 9 OU. It pretty much does everything, has offensive and defensive utility, a good ground type. What's voice cracks? A good ground fighting type, access to Stealth Rock and Rapid Spin, and it has a variety of sets it can run. Where it's on a Sun team, it can use its ability Photosynthesis to get a boost in speed if it wants to, a boost in attack, if it wants to be a Choice Scarf set, or just some offensive set. And it can also get a Photosynthesis defense boost if it wants to check Chin Pal a little bit better, or Scissor a bit better. It's just a very good mon. It has a lot of utility here, and I'd be stunned if it doesn't come. Next up, they have Iron Valiant. Iron Valiant is, well, they have the best mon in OU, so they had to get the best mon in draft. It has access to insane amounts of sets. It can run support with Encore, Swords Dance Sweeping, Mixed Choice Scarf, Special Choice Scarf, Physical Choice Scarf, Choice Band, Choice Specs, Life Orb, Expert Belt, Calm Mind Sweeping, Booster Energy Speed Boost, Booster Energy Attack Boost, Booster Energy Special Attack Boost. I could keep going on. This thing is absolutely insane in draft due to its versatility. And yeah, for this game, I wasn't even sure if he would bring it this game because I felt like there were six better Pokemon for him to bring. Granted, Iron Valiant always has its place on a draft, or on a team, but with a Zapdos and a Screamtail, I'm not entirely sure it was a great idea, or it would be a great idea to bring it. Next up, they have Walking Wake. If you've paid attention to the draft lead, the BBR, you would know what MV can do with a Walking Wake. Its main bread and butter is a choice spec speed boosting with photosynthesis set, or just a plain old choice specs photosynthesis special attack set. I expect the first one, the choice scarf photosynthesis, or the choice scarf photosynthesis special attack set. Did I say, yeah, but that's what it said I would expect. I think I said or a choice spec speed boosting photosynthesis set, which I think that's what I may have brought in Mox versus myself, but I think I think I expect something like that. Uh, Aside from that, it can run Dragon Tail for phasing for like if I set up Suicune, or it can run mixed if it wants to, it can run Dragon Dance if it wants to, but Rose has only really brought it one way this season, and I still expect him to bring it that way. And that's like some form of choice set that has a photosynthesis and special attack speed. That's what I expect. I don't have a reason to believe he would stray from that. Next up, he has his mascot pick, the Rotom Heat. It can Terra. I'm not entirely sure he'd bring it, mainly because I feel like Scovillain or something like Revavroom or Wicca Wiki does its job a bit better. It's a very annoying pivot that can will with spam versus Chin Pao. Granted, this may be his Chin Pao check, though he has a Torkoal for a Chin Pao check, but yeah. It can also T-Wave spam, gets powerful overheats in Sun, or if it wants to do Terrafire or Terra Blast, it can have access to very good Fire Stab without having to, sacrifice a special attack stat. And that's a pretty powerful tool for it to have. And that's probably the niche I see it bringing the most, or if it wants to run like Terra Psychic or something to counteract Infernape. It's a pretty natural Nidoking check, but I feel like Specially Defensive Wiki Wiki does that job better. But yeah, that's Rotom Heat. It also, I think, gets defog access. Since this isn't post-home Paldea decks, and instead National decks, it does get defog access to defog away Nidoking Stealth Rocks, or Brimble Spikes, or Bastion Rocks, or whatever. So, yeah. Next up is Torkoal. This is another bread and butter sun Pokemon. He has to get this. It's a sun team. A very physically defensive wall. It's very, very slow though, but this is pretty much going to be his natural Chien-Pao answer. Access to Lava Plume, Solar Beam, Earth Power, Yawn to stop my setup Pokemon, Toxic, Spread Status, Rapid Spin, and Stealth Rock to remove hazards and set their own hazards up. This is just a very, very powerful Pokemon for him to have in this matchup, and its setting sun is just really, really good for him. Next up, they have Scovillain. Scovillain's another one of their Sun Sweepers. This is another one of his Terra captains. I expect Terra Rock or some form of Terra to be able to slap Zapdos a bit harder. I do expect a physical set if he brings it because of Suicune setting up Calm Minds. So that'll be an interesting thing to see if he brings it. An interesting thing to note, he only really needs to outpace Chien-Pao and Sun because Scissor isn't exactly what they would call a speed demon or something that he'd need to worry about outpacing. So yeah. Overall I expect growth, sub, Terra Blast and like a grass stab or something. I don't know. Next up they have Wiki. This is one of the Pokemon I definitely expect them to bring, mainly for the specially defensive utility to counteract Nidoking. So I expect like Wish Protect, Knock Off, and like Seismic Toss, or he could run Toxic, Heal Bell, stuff like that, or even Body Slam. I I was super duper worried about this set, so I did more than I should have to be able to counteract it. Next up, they have Wokix. Wokix is a pretty powerful, physically attacking Pokemon with Tinted Winds, which boosts the power of its not very effective moves, so Zapdos will be getting hit a bit harder with like First Impression and U-Turn. So that's Wokix. It's a pretty one-note Pokemon in my opinion. It only really runs like Scarf or Band or like Life Orb stuff. But it's a physical attacker. It does its job good enough. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure I'd expect it to come because I feel like, well, a lot of the Pokemon here just match up better into this team. But yeah, Wilkix is still an okay Pokemon for them to bring. It's not the worst thing on their team, but yeah. Next up is Revavroom. Revavroom is the one Pokemon on this team that made me just cry because it had access to everything I didn't want to see. It had access to Toxic, a fast Toxic, I should say. It would be faster than pretty much everything on my team except like Infernape and Chien-Pao, since I don't really care about investing speed into my defensive Pokemon. It gets access to Haze, so if I wanted to set up Scream Tail or Suicune, it could haze those things away. Parting Shot to lower my stats and pivot out. And just a very annoying Steel Poison type when paired with an Air Balloon could just meant that Nidoking's dual stabs would not do anything. It was super duper annoying to play around. And I also got Toxic Spikes. So, yes, super duper annoying to play around. I was gonna be stunned if he didn't bring it. And finally, they have Mega Pidgeot. Mega Pidgeot can't miss Hurricanes with the no guard ability, which is super duper good for a Sun team. It also gets access to powerful heat waves, which I think he could take advantage of. U-turn for pivoting, defog for removing hazards, so I don't think he brings defog. Or if he's feeling spicy, he can go Hyper Beam. But that's the general gist of his team. He also gets hidden power access on Mega Pidgeot and pretty much everything else. Mega Pidgeot and Rotom Heat are the things that I expect to bring hidden power because they're the things that benefit most from it. And yeah, so with that being said, I shall get into my team for this. So first up, I have Screamtail, Wish Protect, Dazzling, and Stealth Rock with pretty much max HP, a little bit of defense investment, and max special defense. This is my Iron Valiant check and Walking Wake check roll in the one. Terra Water for the Walking Wake. Leftovers for General Recovery. I had a little bit of defensive investment just in case this thing needed to take on the Great Tusk or even a physical Iron Valiant. But Stealth Rock is there because I didn't really have a good utility move to put there. I was going to put Thunder Wave there initially to lower some speed on like Iron Valiant or Walking Wake, but I decided on Stealth Rock because I really was not quicking Thunder Wave a lot. It was either Wish Protect or Dazzling Gleam, and I figured if there's going to be a filler slot, I might as well put Rocks in there. So yeah, this set was initially going to be a Calm Mind set, which was going to be hilarious, but I decided upon Suicune to be my Calm Mind check, or to be my Calm Mind Pokemon. Suicune, sub Calm Mind with the Scald Air Slash, enough speed to outpace base speed, I think, Revavroom. 36 special defense, it really didn't mean a lot, but I think this EV spread, I'm not sure about the defensive investment too. It's been a minute since I've prepped this team, but max HP 252 allowed me to hit 404 HP, which meant my sub would never get 2 or would never get O code by a wiki seismic toss. So that's a very clutch thing to have, especially if I'm at like +3 and can't 2-hit KO it. I can just sub up on it, get a free Calm Mind, sub up again, free Calm Mind, and then Scald, and then we're pretty much free. Leftovers for General Recovery. Pressure was just kind of like a filler thing. It was better than Inner Focus here, but I found in prep that this allowed me to take on Wiki a lot better, as it couldn't really spam wish versus me. It'd only get 8 wishes versus this thing with my pressure ability. So limiting its general recovery and just limiting it in general is just very good to have. And yeah, another thing that this thing can do, it punishes Walking Wake if it's choice set and just wants to spam Hydro Steam. It comes in on Torkoal easily and 1v1s it. It really can come in on a lot of things, and this was probably going to be my dedicated weed if they did not bring Revavroom. Revavroom is the only thing that stands in this thing's way this game. So next up I had Zapdos. Zapdos, standard Fizz set, Discharge, Heat Wave, Roost, U-turn. No defog this week because I didn't really feel like I should fear their hazard stack. They only have a Revavroom and a couple Rock Setters for their hazard game, and I felt like I could play around that pretty easily. I have Discharge for just a stab move into spam paralysis on their team. Heat Wave will get powered up by the sun, and it's a pretty good stab move to have. Not stab move, just a pretty good move to have in general. It's better than Hurricane this game. I have Roost to, well, cover my health, and U-turn for pivoting because I don't want to bring Volt Switch versus Great Tusk. So next up I have Choice Scarf Chinpow. This is to outpace their Sun Sweepers. Ice Spinner, Crunch, Psychic Fang, Sacred Sword. Ice Spinner for General Stab, Crunch for a General Stab, Psychic Fangs for the Iron Valiant, and it's not a bad move versus Great Tusk, though Ice Spinner is definitely better. Sacred Sword from the Wiki. I I wanted to bring Shinpao, but I didn't really know what set to bring on it. This was the best thing I could think of. Choice Scarf to outpace the Sunsweepers, and yeah. Next up, Infernape, Y4 with Iron Fist, Fire Punch, Quits Combat, Earthquake, U-Turn. 240 speed, modest nature. This allows me to outpace low kicks. Did I say modest adamant nature? 16 HP was what was left over, adamant nature with 252 attack to hit as hard as possible. This thing can OHKO with a wiki if it's especially defensive. Fire Punch for general stab, close combat to just slap things very hard. Earthquake is for stuff like Torkoal or Riverroom, and then U-turn for pivoting. This is a pretty standard Infernape set. I felt it matched up really well here, and yeah. The final set is going to be Nidoking. This EV spread, it's entirely random, so I think the only thing that doesn't really have a point is the defensive investment. Though, then again, it may have a point. Y-Form with sub superpower, Earthquake, Poison Jab, physical Nidoking set this week because I'm that afraid of Wiki being specially defensive and shutting me down. This thing is designed to lure in Wiki and just slap it super hard with a sheer force boosted Poison Jab or a superpower or an Earthquake. And yeah, 44 speed again to outpace base speed Revavroom, 32 special defense because why not, 60 defense because why not, 120 HP to hit 333 HP because why not, and yeah, that's the team. So I know I didn't give any warning, but we're hopping into the game right now. So, the team I expected him to bring, I did not expect 4 of these 6. I expected Torkoal Walking Wake, but I thought he would bring Great Tusk, Wiki, Revavroom, and Scovillain. That's what I thought he would bring. I knew Iron Valiant still had a chance to come, and I wasn't really surprised to see it there, but I am just astounded at like how little counterplay they had for Suicune. So I told myself, hey, if they don't bring Revavroom, you always lead Suicune on their Torkoal lead. And so that is what I did. Unfortunately, they weeded Mega Pidgeot, so I had to switch out to Zapdos as they just quick Hurricane, doing 30% and getting the confusion. So here I think I quick Roost, but I hurt myself in confusion, and I finally do quick Roost. They keep switching around Zapdos, and I don't know what they're doing that for, because the one thing on their team they have to take on Zapdos is that Walking Wake. They need to get Torkoal in, and they need to give up something to get Walking Wake in for free. So they go low kicks and U-turn. They're still pivoting around this thing. And they go Rotom Heat as I hurt myself in confusion again and again. They Volt Switch out, and they go back into low kicks, trying to kill me with a first impression. Thankfully, I snap out of confusion and get a Roost off again. They quick Leech Life, and then I quick Roost again because I need that recovery. And finally, they quick U-turn again. I get the Static Para, which is going to be big on that Pokemon. And they go back into Rotom Heat. Like, at this stage in the game, I am entirely baffled at how awfully they're playing around Zapdos. They're just letting me have things. I get a crit pair on this, but it doesn't matter because that's going to 2-hit KO it anyways. They go into Rotom Heat. I get another crit, but it only made like 6% of difference. And I finally U-turn out and go into Scream Tail. Get the Protosenses special defense. And so they go into Iron Valiant, which I'm kind of worried for him if that was their first answer. So a quick dazzle aim crit doesn't really matter because I was going to 2-hit KO it anyways. I could have just stayed in and wished, but I go into Zapdos and I get the static para, but again, that was doing 35. With another roost, I would have been fine. And they finally bring in Walking Wake and kill my Zapdos. And I don't know if you've ever seen a Suicune sweep, but prepare yourselves for a vintage Suicune moment. So, here we go. I knew they were choice, I knew they had to switch. I quick sub on the switch, and it's go time. I set up one Calm Mind, they quick Earth Power, can't break the sub, and I quick another Calm Mind. So versus this thing, I could have clicked another Calm Mind again, but I click Air Slash to go on the offense, just so that way Woe Kicks is out of the way. Here they go into Mega Pidgeot. I could have clicked anything, but I clicked Calm Mind because I can just set up easily versus this thing. Quick Hurricane again, they're desperate to kill this thing. Any sort of Suicune counterplay has gone out the window, and they're just focused on killing this. I break out of Confusion, get the Skull Burn, but it doesn't matter because I was going to 2-hit KO it anyways. They go Walking Wake, and a quick Air Slash, and yeah, that's the game. It was, in hindsight, all those hacks, honestly, didn't matter or hasten the inevitable, because this is the most illy prepped team for a Suicune that I have saw. Like, I don't mean this as a diss to my opponent, but you had so much better counterplay sitting on the bench. Like, I feel like you could have brought, like, Physical Iron Valiant is a good bring. I like it. If you didn't burn it too early, I would have liked to see Wiki Wiki to be able to take on Zapdos a bit better and just force it out into Invernate. Wiki Wiki would have helped you out so much here, and I'm surprised that, like, Low Kicks got the nod over it. Whenever I don't think Low Kicks matched up well into Zapdos, to a team with a Zapdos at all. Mega Pidgeot I can kind of get, Rotom Heat I can kind of get, but yeah, this is just a couple head-scratching moves. I get he was on 10-minute prep because his initial team got scrapped or just didn't save, which is highly unfortunate. And yeah, this game was very, very interesting. I want to feel like I feel good about this win. I feel really, really good about this win, but a part of my mind is just pouring one out for Rhodes because of how many unfortunate circumstances happen in this game. He got crit parried on the Toro, not Toro, so Torkoal. Toro's Torkoal, same thing. But he got crit parried on the Torkoal. His Rotom Heat got crit. Iron Valiant got crit and parried. It was just a really, really unfortunate game for him. But like I said, him not bringing the Wiki Wiki or the River Room meant that I pretty much won this on Team Preview. Like, there was no Suicune counterplay, and I feel good in saying that. No Suicune counterplay at all, and that proves that the present form of Suicune is better than the past form of Suicune. So, with that being said, I guess, I will catch you all in my Week 9 game when I take on Coach Sorrow and the Merlin Boltons. Stay tuned for that game because we're bringing some spicy sets. And I will see you all in the next battle. Peace.